Hey there, pretty girl.
There we go. Welcome back. It's the White Project. And we're back to Painkiller, which we haven't played in a while. Because I switch games a lot. But not today. Today I'm playing Painkiller. How did Soul get here? I didn't kill anybody in this general area. Oh, okay, they can throw their axes. And unlike the other guys, they don't die when their axes are thrown, so that's interesting. Okay, so, yeah, this is probably the best weapon for this situation. As much as I love the good old Violator, it is a little slow on the reload. Oof. Jeez, it takes forever for these guys to go away. Is that everybody? Huh. That was fun. Alright, you don't have to reload in this game. How bitchin' is that? Yeah. Okay, those things explode. That's nice. I wonder if we can get a new weapon in this one. I would love to have a new gun, as much as I like the guns I have. Just like, new gun, that'd be pretty cool. Whee! Jesus, I forgot how fast you go when you jump in this game. It's like, why move any other way? Okay. Boom. Sorry if I'm a little low energy. I'm trying to, surprisingly easier to do this when I only do them once in a while. I don't know. But, I want to start getting to the swing of things, try and get a little more regular, because I would love to, I want to say, I'd love to have like 1,000 subscribers. That way I would feel like people actually, like, even to know that many people were interested would be kind of awesome. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just kind of rambling at this point. It's hard to choose a topic to talk about when you're doing this kind of thing. So, I'm going to talk about comic books, because I love comic books. I also hate comic books, because of all the mediums of media in the world, comic books are the ones that are most ruined by their fans. Like, I'll go on record as saying that is fairly true. Because, here's the thing about comic book fans, is they have been presented with the greatest media form, like the best possible way for a story to progress. Like, stories can span years and months, and it can be, you can build an entire world and all this shit. And you can basically have the real world, well, not a real, like, not the real world, but like a real world reflected in a comic book that progresses as time goes on and all that shit. But comic book fans, they don't want that. They don't want progression or plot development. Well, some of them do. Like, basically there's two types of comic book fans. The ones that bitch when everything's getting stale and everything's the same, and then there's the ones that bitch when everything changes. So basically, comic books are forced to do this weird thing where they flip from status quo to status quo. Oh, people are complaining about this thing. Well, I guess we'll do it this way for a bit. And now they don't like that, so we'll switch it up. And it just ruins the media. Have some balls, publishers, and just stick with whatever you decide to do. I mean, I can't think of any other media that really has the whole concept of a retcon. I guess there are some TV shows, but since TV shows have like a limited airtime, usually anything they introduce that's like a retcon was planned from the beginning, whereas in comic books it's just like in order to keep things going, they just keep switching it around. You know what would be the coolest thing ever? A comic book like universe that was told in real time, where like as time progressed, like people stopped, like everybody had like a limited shelf life. And what the shit's that? It's new at the top of the screen there. I can't even remember if you can see the HUD in this one. What was I saying? But like one that's done in real time, and just like a hero's like maybe active, like a hero like Batman's maybe active for 10, maybe 15 years, and then much like an actual much like an athlete would do if they took the kind of beating Batman takes regularly. They have to stop because they're no longer capable of doing it. Jesus. And like just have that kind of progression where like where it's always changing. And okay, I've learned that whatever those things do to me, it stops me from shooting my gun. So I'm not going to focus on them because I think they're just distractions. I'm just going to keep circle strafing and shooting until something bad happens. But anyway, try and imagine that comic book universe. Wouldn't that be awesome? You would have this guarantee. Also, like, death is permanent policy. None of this bullshit. Like, I cannot count the number of ways people have been brought back to life in comic books. Because some of them are really stupid. The weirdest one I ever read, myself, was, Peter Parker coming back to life by, like, being reborn. No, it wasn't, I guess he didn't really come back to life. But, basically, the idea was Peter Parker, in order to have the organic web shooters that he had in the movies, and like I guess so the comic books could kind of ape off that popularity of the movies, they like did this weird thing where his mutation went out of control. He mutated into a giant spider, and then basically the giant spider died, and he popped out of it, and he had organic web shooters after that. And it was just, I remember reading about that comic book and then reading it, and I did not get that at all. It was super weird. Christ, where are these guys coming from? I thought they were just a byproduct of the boss, but I guess not. Although I guess there is that thing in this game where, like, the thing looks like that shiny thing. I don't know. Oh! Oh, at least that boss was easier than the last one. I'd really like a new gun. I think I said that before. Other weird ways that people came back to life in comic books. I don't know. Most of the time they just say, oh, well, you didn't actually die. Like, Darkseid's Omega Beams with Batman, where like they retconned what the Omega Beams actually do, because apparently Darkseid is a weeping angel, because instead of actually killing Batman when Darkseid uses Omega Beams on him, his Omega Beams sent him back in time. Also, they explained the reason there was a corpse there because there was a Batman clone, because even Darkseid recognized how badass Batman was, and it only made sense to clone him of the man with the best genetic stock. Anyway, so then Batman was sent back in time, and it turned out... Actually, I think the whole point of it was, like, Darkseid planned, or, I don't know, his Omega Beams could always send people back in time, and he could, like, infect them with some kind of Omega Beam virus. I fucking forget what it was. Anyway, if he made it back to the present, the whole world would end or some bullshit. It was super fucking confusing. And it was called Batman R.I.P. or some shit like that. I don't know. No, that was the one that led up to his death. Final Crisis, I love Grant Morrison, but even he couldn't save that, because it was a continuation of Countdown, and you can't, and like, if you're starting from shit, it's really hard. If you're using shit as your primary building material, it's really hard to build a house. And Grant Morrison, despite the fact that he is at least my favorite comic book writer, and he might be, like, my opinion, he's probably the best, he could not save the filthy byproduct, which is odd, because, like, they had to really work to fuck up that story, because they started from the 52, which was just amazing, and it was so good. And then they made Countdown, and it was meant to be the 52, but for like the mainline heroes instead of just the lesser known ones. Anyway, it was just bleh, 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 all over. And Jesus, this is huge and pretty, I guess, but like, what the hell's going on? Where am I going? What am I doing? Ugh, fuck. Why can't I get a new gun? I heard there was a gun that shoots shurikens and lightning from a man that I'm sure you all know, as he is much, much more famous than I am. But still, I would like that gun. I would like a gun that shot shurikens and lightning. Oh, I forgot that I could do that. Huh. Neat. Whee! That's a really odd alternate fire for a gun. A freezing cryo blast. Oh, shit. Anyway, I think this episode has run its course, so I'm gonna say, next time on the White Project, explosions.